Naruto, copy everything from the Uzumaki Clan, episode 91. Hoshiyu closed his eyes, and after using the advanced replication card to copy Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscopic chakra eyes, his eyes were a little tingling. Xingyu could feel the huge pupil power that broke through the limit, because the pupil force was too strong, resulting in some tingling sensation in the eyes, as if staying up late and staying up too much. After about a minute, Xingyu felt that his eyes were a little cool, and the original kaleidoscope writing wheel eye had some more lines, turning into an eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. And the pupil power of Xingyu, which was originally stronger than that of other kaleidoscopic chakra eyes, is now exaggerated dozens of times, and it feels that the pupil power will never be used up. Xingyu, are you alright? Seeing that Xingyu suddenly closed his eyes, Kushina and Mikoto asked Hoshiha with concern. It's okay, I'm fine. Hoshiha smiled slightly, so that Kushina and Mikoto didn't need to worry. He is not only good now, but quite good. After the evolution of the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, the star feather has undergone a great transformation. The originally huge chakra has now increased again, and I feel that even my physical state has increased slightly. Xingyu can also understand that originally the evolution of the Sharingan has the ability to enhance its own chakra, and the perfect immortal body and the Sharingan can fit perfectly. With the perfect immortal body and the Sharingan, Xingyu may be able to open the reincarnation eye on his own. It's just that Xingyu doesn't know if he needs Indra and Azura chakra to open the eye of reincarnation, and if he does, then Xingyu really has trouble if he wants to open the eye of reincarnation himself. I don't want to think about this for the time being. I just opened the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, and it's still far from the reincarnation eye, not to mention that Xingyu also has time. Amaterasu and Kagutsukamai, exactly the same as Sasuke Uchiha's kaleidoscope Sharingan Hitomi technique? Xingyu whispered to himself. The copy is Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscopic chakra eyes, not only the pupil power, but also the pupil technique of Ryota Uchiha. Uchiha Ryota's pupil technique is Amaterasu and Kagutsukamai. Hoshiyu is slightly disappointed, although these two pupil techniques are not bad, but the expectation in Hoshiyu's heart has disappeared. It's not that everyone's kaleidoscope chakra eye pupil technique is generally different. Why is this guy's pupil technique the same as Uchiha Sasuke's? Xingyu was really a little depressed, and he was expecting to be able to get that powerful anti-heaven pupil technique. The Sharingan is the eye of the soul, perhaps because Ryota Uchiha has the same heartfelt desire as Sasuke Uchiha. Xingyu, what are you whispering? The guy left. Joshinai reminded Xingyu, causing Xingyu to come back to his senses. Xingyu glanced at Ryota Uchiha who left. In fact, Xingyu's purpose has been achieved now, and it doesn't matter if Ryota Uchiha makes a move. However, Hoshiyu still does not plan to let Ryota Uchiha go, because there has been a skirmish between the two sides, although 5 or 6 years have passed, but Hoshiyu's memory is good. Can't let him run, follow him. Hashiba said to Kushina and Mikoto. We're not eating? Joshinai said depressedly. She said that she hadn't finished eating yet. It's never too late to eat after it's settled, and when the time comes, eat better, and go. Seiwa was rather speechless and pulled Kushina and took Mikoto to follow Ryota Uchiha. Because Xingyu didn't mean to hide it, plus Uchiha Ryota was very vigilant, he had already discovered Xingyu and them. Is there anyone who is following me alive or dead? Ryota Uchiha sneered, and then headed towards the forest outside the village. Because there were too many people chasing him, Ryota Uchiha didn't want to make too much movement and was ready to solve them in the uninhabited forest. After coming to the forest, Ryota Uchiha stood there waiting, and Hoshiha did not mean to hide. With the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan, if you still need to sneak up to deal with the Uchiha Ryota, it is really too humiliating, and Uzumaki Star Feather can't afford to lose this face. I didn't expect it to be 3 imps, I remember seeing you guys before. Uchiha Ryota looked coldly at Hoshiha, Kushina, and Mikoto, and the 3 of them. Xingyu, I want revenge. Joshinai said to Xingyu. Joshinai has a good memory, and remembers that Ryota Uchiha used murderous energy to scare himself, but at that time, he scared Joshinai not lightly. Joshinai is also very vindictive. Now is the opportunity for revenge. Absolutely can't let go of this guy in front of him. Okay, I'll help you. Xingyu nodded and said, the other party's strongest is the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, but the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye is really no card in front of Xingyu. Under the pupil power suppression of the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, how powerful can the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye still have? What's more, Xingyu was already fully aware of the other party's pupil technique, knew himself and the other party, and fought 100 battles. Xingyu, be careful with the pupil technique of the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Mikoto reminds Hoshiha to be careful. After all, Mikoto doesn't know that Hoshiha already knows about Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscope chakra eye. The art of fireball how? A large fireball that could envelop 10 meters towards Xingyu and them. Ryota Uchiha's fireball technique was no longer proficient. The fireball hit, and then hit the ice wall, and the ice wall cast by Hoshiyu was not something that Ryota Uchiha's fireball could break. The flames only made the ice wall melt slightly. If you want to break the ice wall of Xingyu, let's have 10 more fireballs. Ice ninjutsu? Aren't you from the Uzumaki family? Uchiha Ryota's expression was a little shocked, although he couldn't remember exactly, but Uchiha Ryota remembered that Hoshiwa and Kushina were members of the Uzumaki family. Can't the people of the Vortex family use the ice escape? Do people from the Uzumaki family still use the Sharingan? Xingyu opened the three-hooked jade riding wheel eye and looked at Uchiha Ryota faintly, and Uchiha Ryota was even more shocked, and the shock was petrified. Xingyu used Izuku ice escape, although Ryota Uchiha was shocked, but it was acceptable, but using Izuku jade riding wheel eye, this was a little unreasonable. Being done may still have a chance to obtain it through cultivation, but riding wheel eyes can't. This is a real bloodline inheritance, a real bloodline limit. Although it can be transplanted, the transplanted Sharingan cannot be closed, which Ryota Uchiha still understands, so Ryota Uchiha knows that Hoshi's Sharingan is not transplanted, it is his own. How could you possibly have a chakra eye? Ryota Uchiha asked. Why should I answer you this question? Ryota Uchiha didn't ask again, and there was no point in asking so much. Uchiha Ryota's kaleidoscopic chakra eye was opened, and he had already become serious, and the ice escape and chakra eye that were shown had already made Uchiha Ryota dare not underestimate it. Moreover, the Sharingan is still a three-hooked jade Sharingan, which is the limit of ordinary Sharingan, and the entire Uchiha family can only be owned by elites. Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscope chakra eye is the shape of three docked shadow sickles, which look somewhat similar to Uchiha Obito's kaleidoscope chakra eye. Mikoto took a deep breath, and after Ryota Uchiha opened the kaleidoscope chakra eye, Mikoto felt a heavy pressure. High-level Sharingan. For low-level Sharingan, there is a sense of oppression, such as a jade Sharingan, a two-hooked jade Sharingan, and cannot open their eyes in front of the kaleidoscope Sharingan. Episode 92. Xingyu, his kaleidoscope chakra eye is completely different from yours. Kushina looked at Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscope chakra eyes and said in amazement. Each pair of kaleidoscopic chakra eyes is more or less different, just like there are no two identical snowflakes in the world. Xingyu said to Kushina that the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye ability may be the same, but the shape is definitely not exactly the same. Well, this must be ruled out that Xingyu copied an identical kaleidoscopic riding wheel eye, and Xingyu's system can obviously do it. You also have kaleidoscope chakra eyes? Kushina's words had already been heard by Uchiha Ryota, and after hearing it, Uchiha Ryota looked at Uzumaki Star Feather in disbelief. Sanguyu riding wheel eye is already very shocking at the other party's age. As for the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, Ryota Uchiha really dare not think about it. As for the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan, sorry, Ryota Uchiha doesn't know what the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan is. No, mine is more advanced than yours. The eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye and the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye are not the same, and the gap between the two sides is not smaller than the gap between the three-hooked jade riding wheel eye and the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye. The complete Susanoo can flatten a mountain with a single knife, and the Susanoo cast by the kaleidoscope chakra eye cannot be compared at all. Since you also have kaleidoscope chakra eyes, that's just right. Ryota Uchiha exuded an astonishing murderous aura, and directly ignored what Hashi has said that was more advanced than his kaleidoscope chakra eye. In the eyes of Ryota Uchiha, the kaleidoscope Sharingan is already the most advanced, it is already the limit of the evolution of the Sharingan, and there is nothing more advanced. I guess your idea now is to kill me, and then poach my Sharingan and replace it, right? Has your vision begun to blur? How do you know? Ryota Uchiha, who was going to make a move, suddenly stopped, and looked at Uzumaki Hashiha in amazement and asked. This is a side effect of kaleidoscope Sharingan, you should not use the pupil technique of kaleidoscope Sharingan, right? In fact, if the kaleidoscope chakra eye is not used, if it is only used as an ordinary chakra eye, it is estimated that you will not be blind for the rest of your life. It's just that after having the kaleidoscope chakra eye, who can bear the ability not to use the kaleidoscope chakra eye? Moreover, the pupil technique of the kaleidoscope chakra eye is also strong enough, and the weakest will not be worse than S-level ninjutsu. It seems that you know kaleidoscope Sharingan very well? Uchiha Ryota's killing intent as he looked at Xingyu became a little heavier. I know better than you. Xingyu said flatly. Amaterasu. Ryo Uchiha couldn't wait to start, and as soon as he made a move, it was the kaleidoscope Sharingan eye pupil Amaterasu. Known as the strongest physical attack, Amaterasu can instantly emit black flame attacks, does not need to be sealed, cannot be extinguished by water, can burn in a vacuum, and the flame will never be extinguished unless the target burns out. It seems to be very strong, but the most embarrassing thing about Amaterasu is that no one has been killed in the original book. Well, Baiju's kind of creature should not be considered a person, anyway, except Baiju, no one has ever killed. And this time too, Ryota Uchiha released Amaterasu's instant, and Hoshi Feather opened the eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, and then cast the extra Earth Life. Adding Earth Life can control the morphological change of Amaterasu, and at this time, the Amaterasu Black Flame released by Ryota Uchiha has been controlled by Hashifiya. Add a Dirt Life? Will you also add Dirt Life? Uchiha Ryota's face turned green, and he felt really uncomfortable. If he knew that Hoshiyu would also add Earth, he would definitely not release Amaterasu. Hashiha did not answer Ryota Uchiha, controlling Amaterasu Kuroyan into the shape of a blade and slashing towards Ryota Uchiha. The knife formed by Amaterasu Black Yen, if it really cuts Ryota Uchiha, he will really be cold. Although Amaterasu did not kill people in the original work, but this does not mean that Amaterasu is really a spicy chicken waste move. After all, the people who use Amaterasu in the original work are not ordinary people. If you let Amaterasu kill the other party in seconds with one move, then Kishimoto still draws a fart ah. Looking at the blade formed by the black flame that was slashed, Ryota Uchiha also used the extra soil life. But the Kaleidoscope Riding Wheel Eye and the Eternal Kaleidoscope Riding Wheel Eye of the Star Feather compete for control, which is a little out of control. Laugh at. One of Uchiha Ryota's arms was cut off, and the flames of Amaterasu burned on his body. The severed arm has been burned by Amaterasu, and the black flame contaminated by Uchiha Ryota was extinguished by Uchiha Ryota. His eyes were bleeding in tears. Ryota Uchiha was not a Whirlpool Star Feather, and he had to pay a lot of money when using pupil technique. Just like Uchiha Itachi, every time he performs the Kaleidoscope Sharingan pupil technique, he will make himself bleed. Ryota Uchiha felt that his vision was more blurred, but these were not important. The important thing was that his left arm was gone. It feels good to use your pupil technique against you, Xingyu said with a smile. Mikoto saw it. This is the consequence of performing the Kaleidoscope Sharingan pupil technique, and the Kaleidoscope Sharingan is a double-edged sword, hurting the enemy and hurting oneself. Hashiba said to Mikoto, this is also to remind Mikoto, so as not to use it indiscriminately after Mikoto opens the Kaleidoscope Chakra Eye. The more you use it, the faster you will become blind. Mikoto nodded slightly. In fact, it was okay to watch Xingyu cast the Kaleidoscope Chakra Eye before, so Mikoto didn't know much about the consequences of casting the Kaleidoscope Chakra Eye. Although Hashiha said that the side effects were not small, Mikoto had never seen it, and now she saw it. Xingyu, why are there no side effects when you use the Kaleidoscope Sharingan pupil technique? Joshinai asked Xingyu curiously. Mikoto was also very curious. Even Uchiha Ryota, who was missing an arm, looked over. This is too important, he also wants to know. First of all, my Kaleidoscope Chakra Eye has evolved into an Eternal Kaleidoscope Chakra Eye, and secondly, I have an immortal body, so I am not afraid of the side effects of Kaleidoscope Chakra Eye. Joshina and Mikoto are even more strange. Why are they not afraid of the side effects of Kaleidoscope Chakra Eyes when they have an immortal body? Xingyu also saw their questions, but the involvement was too complicated, it was difficult to understand, and Xingyu did not explain it for the time being. Can the Kaleidoscope Sharingan still evolve? Ryota Uchiha gritted his teeth and looked at Hoshiyu, and after seeing Hashiha's more complicated chakra eyes, Uchiha Ryota was a little convinced. The most important thing is that Uchiha Ryota is here in Xingyu, feeling the coercion above the pupil power. His pupil power is completely incomparable to the other party, or even completely incomparable. You're already a dead man, there's no need to know so much, Xingyu said lightly. Some people are still alive but dead, and Ryota Uchiha is like that, although he is still alive, but he is about to die. Hoshiyu decided to kill him. Uchiha Ryota would definitely die, and his strength was a joke here in Hoshiyu. Uchiha Ryota is the strength of the quasi-shadow, the combat power of the shadow level, relying on the Kaleidoscope Riding Wheel Eye, with the combat power of the shadow level. Episode 93. Hoshiyu looked at Uchiha Ryota with a dead gaze. This kind of look made Uchiha Ryota very angry. Did he really think that he was sure of him? Who to look down on? Susanoo. Uchiha Ryota roared, recklessly using Susanoo, the strongest pupil technique. If he loses an arm and doesn't use Susanoo again, he will really die. Because of the use of Susanoo, Ryota Uchiha was in some pain, and the pain of eroding bones made Ryota Uchiha burst out. It is still a side effect of Kaleidoscope Chakra Eyes. Excessive use of pupil power will cause bleeding in the eyes, and if you use Susanoo, it is not only an eye problem, but also a physical problem. Susanoo is really destructive, but if you use it with a Kaleidoscope Chakra, you have to bear the side effects. In addition to some of his congenital reasons, the rest of Uchiha's disease is because of the Kaleidoscope Riding Wheel Eye. To be precise, it is blood disease. Using Susanoo for the Eternal Kaleidoscope Sharingan is nothing like eating and drinking, but using Susanoo for the Kaleidoscope Sharingan is really risking a loss of life. Susanoo is the god of destruction that devours life, not only the life of the enemy, but also the life force of the caster. Of course, if you have an immortal body, that's another story. The immortal body is really omnipotent, and with a good body, you can really do whatever you want. The various pupil techniques of immortal eyes seem to be very powerful, but they have been beaten by immortals since ancient times. Atsuki Indra can't beat Atsuki Azura, Uchiha can't beat Senjakuma, Uchiha Sasuke can't beat Uzumaki Naruto, these are already proof. Uchiha Ryota has no immortal body, let alone a perfect immortal body, not even an ordinary immortal body, so he can only resist with his own life. Only the armored samurai with the upper body appeared in this forest, and the height was close to 50 meters, which was full of deterrence. You Susanoo can't do it, let me see what the real Susanoo is. Hoshiyu looked at the Saiyan Susanoo in front of him, and also cast Susanoo. In fact, Hoshiyu dealt with Ryota Uchiha, there was no need to use a complete Susanoo, but Hoshiyu wanted to try the full body of Susanoo. Susanoo's move is actually very potential, and completely physical Susanoo is not the limit, and Susanoo of Atsuki Hazuki can be comparable in size to the 10 tails. Starfeather's black Susanoo was already more than 100 meters tall, and at this time, Starfeather was in the black crystal on Susanoo's forehead. Not only Xingyu is here, but Kushina and Mikoto are also here, and at this time, Kushina is looking around curiously. Originally, that Susanoo surprised me, but I didn't expect that his Susanoo is not even a child in front of you. Kushina looked at Uchiha Ryota, who could only reach the waist of Susanoo Hashiba, and spoke. He's an incomplete Susanoo, didn't I tell you before, Kaleidoscope Sharingan can't cast a real Susanoo. Hashiha smiled, not knowing what kind of mood Ryota Uchiha was in now. I guess Ryota Uchiha should be desperate now. Mikoto said. Almost, if it were me, I would also feel hopeless. Kushina looked at Uchiha Ryo, who was too short Susanoo, it was completely incomparable, just looking at the surface was not an order of magnitude. Similar to what Kushina and Mikoto guessed, Ryota Uchiha is indeed desperate now, he didn't expect Susanoo to be so big, he thought that the Susanoo he was casting now was already the limit. Hoshi Feather controls Susanoo and takes out a sword from the dark wings on his back, completely Susanoo has wings and can fly. Let's take the Susanoo and experiment with the power of the complete body Susanoo. Hoshiyu's gaze locked on Uchiha Ryota, and then slashed at Uchiha Ryota's Susanoo. The length of the sword had exceeded the height of Uchiha Ryota Sano, and the sword chi generated by the swing of the sword tore the air apart. Ryota Uchiha controlled Susanoo to take out 2 curved long knives to parry Hashiha's attack. If you don't measure your strength, it's not just your body size that is completely strong. Hoshiyu felt that Uchiha Ryo was too self-sufficient, probably because he still didn't understand the horror of completely Susanoo. Hashiha Susanoo's long knife, like cutting tofu, cut off Uchiha Ryota's Susanoo long knife, and then cut it on Uchiha Ryota's Susanoo. Without the slightest obstacle, Uchiha Ryota's Susanoo was directly cut in half by a sword, and the sword chi spread out, directly splitting this forest. Looking at the entire forest that was split, Kushina and Mikoto's eyes widened, obviously shocked. Is this the power of Susanoo? There was nothing surprising about Hoshiyu, Susanoo's destructive power was so powerful, and Hoshi Feather did not exert his full strength. Ryota Uchiha should be dead, right? Mikoto said, looking at the huge ravine cut by the knife. No, he's alive. Xingyu shook his head. Wouldn't it, is Ryota Uchiha so powerful? Can you survive this attack? Jyoshernai asked in surprise, did Ryota Uchiha have such a strong ability? No, I let him go and deliberately cut it off. When Hoshiyu slashed down, he deliberately deviated a little, allowing Ryota Uchiha to survive. Although Xingyu deliberately deviated a little, he still almost killed Ryota Uchiha, and if it weren't for Ryota Uchiha's quick reaction, he would be dead by now. Of course, this is not that Hashiha wants to let Ryota Uchiha go, Hashiha just doesn't want Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscope chakra eye to be destroyed. After disarming Susanoo who was completely disarmed, Hashiha cast Huangquan Hirasaka, entered the space door, and when he walked out, he grabbed Ryota Uchiha who was fleeing. You just run away like this, I'm afraid something is not good. Xingyu said lightly. What do you want to do? Ryota Uchiha had blood and tears in his eyes, and looked at Xingyu in embarrassment. Just after casting Susanoo, Ryota Uchiha's vision was too blurry, and he looked at the star feather in front of him a little unclear. The body also felt as if it had been pricked by needles because of the use of Susanoo, and there was not much chakra left in the body. Although the Susanoo used just now was slashed by the sword of Xingyu's complete body Susanoo, the consumption was still consumed. Kill you, then take your eyes. Xingyu said lightly. Although Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscope chakra eye is not far from blindness, it is also a kaleidoscope chakra eye after all, and it also has a high value. If it weren't for the kaleidoscope to right the wheel eye, Hashiha would have been there long ago, and he used Susanoo to cut Uchiha Ryota to the slag. You want my kaleidoscope Sharingan? Ryota Uchiha's face was very ugly. Episode 94, Want my kaleidoscope Sharingan, you dream, even if I destroy it, I won't give it to you. Uchiha Ryota's scarlet chakra eyes stared at Hoshiyu, and his eyes revealed a thick hatred. You said you want to destroy it, then you should destroy it, shouldn't it be reluctant? Hashiha looked at Ryota Uchiha faintly. He didn't have the courage to destroy the kaleidoscope chakra eye at all. Maybe Ryota Uchiha still had a delusion in his heart that he could escape. Xingyu, did you catch him? Kushina and Mikoto came here using teleportation. Looking back at Kushina and Mikoto, a cold light flashed in Uchiha Ryota's eyes, and then shot at Kushina and Mikoto. Ryota Uchiha thought very clearly. He wanted to capture Kushina and Mikoto and use them to threaten Uzumaki Hashiba. But Ryo Uchiha thought too simply. Did he really think that Kushina and Mikoto were bullies? If it is Uchiha Ryota in the period of total victory, Kushina and Mikoto joining forces are far from opponents, but now Uchiha Ryota is almost consumed. The pupil power was almost exhausted, and the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye was barely opened, and it was almost forcibly closed. Chakra consumed 7788 because of the use of Susanoo. The left arm is gone, and there is one arm left. Because he can't seal with one hand, Ryota Uchiha can't even use ninjutsu, and to be honest, the current Ryota Uchiha combat power is not even comparable to ordinary upper ninja. Kushina and Mikoto took Kumu from the ninja bag and threw it at Ryota Uchiha, who still had a detonation charm hanging on the end of Kuno. Rumble. Ryota Uchiha retreated, and the explosive power of the detonation charm was not small, so he had to temporarily retreat. Fire escape, how dragon fire art. Chakra transforms into flames, forming a fire dragon, which rushes towards Uchiha Ryota, and the rock is shattered by the fire dragon. Damn it. Uchiha Ryota roared, are the little ghosts so strong now? As a genius, at this age, he is just the strength of Jin Shinobu. Roaring was useless, because he couldn't seal and perform ninjutsu, and Uchiha Ryota could only dodge the impact of the fire dragon. But the range was too large, and Ryota Uchiha did not completely dodge. There were some more burns on his body, and he was hit by the impact and flew out, smashing on the ground and spitting out a mouthful of blood. Spiral pills. Kushina suddenly appeared in front of him, and the blue chakra balls hit Uchiha Ryota's heart, directly smashing into Uchiha Ryota's heart. Directly pierced Uchiha Ryota's body, opened a large hole in Uchiha Ryota's body, blood stained the ground red, and Uchiha Ryota's eyes widened. Kushina immediately stepped back to prevent Uchiha Ryota from returning to the light. This blow should have destroyed his heart. There should be no return light, but Kushina felt that it was better to be careful. Under the teaching of Hashiwa and Tsunade, Kushina also learned to be safe, not so reckless, and will be cautious in any situation. He's dead. Hoshiyu came over and said, being able to sense that Ryota Uchiha had no breath. The hearts have been pierced, even the Uchiha spot is going to die. Well, it is the current Uchiha spot, not the 6 spots that have become the pillar force of the ten-tailed people. The 6 spots of the ten-tailed human pillar force are almost immortal, and even if they destroy his heart, they can recover in a short time. Uchiha Ryota's eyes widened. Even if he died, his eyes were full of unwillingness. Before looking for Danzo for revenge, he died like this. Ryota Uchiha will definitely be unwilling, and even Ryota Uchiha regrets not destroying his eyes in the end. There will be some bloody next, or you will avoid it. Hashiba said to Kushina and Mikoto. Bloody? Kushina looked at Xingyu suspiciously. Yes, although his kaleidoscope chakra eye is almost exhausted, it can't be thrown here and wasted. When Hashiwa said this, Kushina and Mikoto probably knew, it was nothing more than taking away Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscope chakra eye. What's so bloody about this? We'll just watch. Kushina didn't think there was anything bloody about this. After all, he had also experienced the battlefield. The scene they saw on the battlefield was much bigger than this, and didn't they endure it? Okay. Xingyu didn't say anything, and directly took off Ryota Uchiha's kaleidoscope chakra eye, and then put it in the salt water bottle that had been prepared a long time ago. Harvest a pair of kaleidoscopic chakra eyes. Hoshiyu was very satisfied. Could he say that this was also one of the reasons for killing Ryota Uchiha? Looking at Uchiha Ryota's battered body, Hashiha pondered for a moment, and then sealed Uchiha Ryota's body in the sealing scroll. Xingyu, you don't even let go of the corpse? Mikoto looked at Hashiha a little speechless and said. What is it called, not even letting go of the corpse? Mikoto, what you said is very ambiguous, do you know? I call this recycling, and it may be useful in the future. Xingyu said angrily. Originally, Hashiha planned to set fire to Ryota Uchiha's body, but then Hashiha changed his mind. Uchiha Ryota's body is not without the value of recycling, such as performing the art of soil rebirth. After all, to perform the art of soil rebirth, but you need the DNA of the other party, of course, you also need a living person as a sacrifice, a very cruel ninjutsu, which shows that the 2nd generation Hokage who developed this forbidden art is not a good stubble. Let's go. Hashiha said as he thought about Kushina and Mikoto. Xingyu, I killed him just now. I killed an S-class rebel. On the way out, Kushina said to Xingyu with some excitement. There's nothing to get excited about, Kushina. If it weren't for Hashiha beating Uchiha Ryota like that, you wouldn't be his opponent at all. Mikoto gives Kushina a little blow. What, shouldn't Makoto be complimenting me at this time? Joshinai looked at Makoto with dissatisfaction, and then Joshinai asked suspiciously, you shouldn't be jealous. What's so jealous about this? I just don't want you to inflate and let you recognize your strength. Makoto said slightly speechlessly. Makoto, do you think I'm the kind of person who swells? Yes. Before Makoto could answer, Hashiha said first. Ignore the two of you. Kushina huffed and walked in front, leaving Hashiha and Makoto behind. Hashiwa and Makoto looked at each other and smiled slightly, and this scene was just seen by Joshinai, who turned around. Immediately, Joshina was dissatisfied, directly slowed down, and then walked in the middle of Hashiha and Makoto. Are we going back now? Makoto asked towards Hashiha. Well, the purpose of coming out this time is for Ryota Uchiha, and now that Ryota Uchiha has solved it, then go back. Return to the Land of Rain? To be honest, I really don't like the Land of Rain. Joshinai pouted. The gloomy weather makes people's moods heavy, and even the people of the Land of Rain hate the weather in the Land of Rain. Episode 95. 2 days later, Hashiha and they returned to the battlefield of the Land of Rain, and since the last battle, only a small battle broke out between Konoha and Shinobu. Skirmishes are battles in which a small team of ninjas are sent to destroy enemy supplies and assassinate the opposing ninjas. It is also worth mentioning that Danzo left the Sand Ninja battlefield and went to the battlefield where Sarutobi was commanded by Sarutobi Hinata and fought with IWA Shinobi. Sarutobi Hinata led the Konoha ninja to face the IWA Shinobu. After all, he was a little unbearable, and although the 3 generations of Tokei Jinoki were short, they were very strong. It also has the blood succession elimination dust, which is a ninjutsu that can kill the enemy in seconds when hit. And there is also the 4-tailed man pillar force Lao Zi to help, although Lao Zi and Inoki are not in harmony, but this kind of ninja world war, naturally unanimity. Ape Fei Ri couldn't hold on, so he transferred Tuanzong over and let Chimu Shuamao preside over the overall situation here. Hashiyu and they didn't see Tsunade and Konan, they thought they should be in the medical class, and Hashiyu, they came directly to the medical class. In addition to the wounded, the medical class is a medical ninja, and after coming to the medical class, Hashiyu sees Konan. Brother Xingyu, you're back. After Xiaonan's gaze saw Xingyu, his eyes lit up slightly, and he ran towards Xingyu. Xiaonan just saw Xingyu, not us at all. Makoto said with a look of disappointment. I also taught you to cultivate, Xiaonan really has no conscience. Joshinai is also saying that Xiaonan has no conscience. Sister Makoto, Sister Kushina. Xiaonan exclaimed sweetly, and then turned his head to find Xingyu again, and Joshinai was stuffed in his heart. You're back, what exactly are you going on to do when you go out? Tsunade walked out of the medical class and asked Hashiha, who didn't tell her what exactly to do when she left. It's nothing, it's just dealing with a rebellion, it's not a big deal, has anything big happened in the camp? Not for the time being, Shinobu and Yushinobu just sent a ninja squad to harass them, and no large-scale battle broke out. Tsunade shook his head, and then looked at Hoshiyu strangely. At this time, there was actually time to deal with some rebellion. Since I'm coming to the medical class, let's practice the medical ninjutsu I mastered. Xingyu opened his mouth and said, after learning the palm cactus technique with Tsunade, Starfeather did not have any chance to try to use it. Now the opportunity has come, there are injured people everywhere, and it is not bad to experiment with palm cactus and improve your proficiency in medical ninjutsu. Don't mess around. Tsunade reminded Hashiba. Don't worry, are you still afraid that I will use the palm cactus technique to cure people to death? In the blink of an eye, more than 2 months have passed, and Xingyu has passed another birthday. Yes, now Xingyu is 11 years old. The system is very generous to give Xingyu a copy card, but unfortunately it is just an ordinary copy card, so that Xingyu can use it directly. Copying the physique of a physical ninja and enhancing his own physical skills, Xingyu has a dream, that is, the future physical technique will burst the 6 spots. With the help of the system, this dream of Xingyu is not necessarily just a dream, and there is a great possibility of realizing it. When he was looking forward to the future, Xingyu felt that this dream was too small. In the past 2 months, the Konoha ninja troops, and the combined forces of Sand Shinobu and Rain Shinobu have experienced dozens of battles, large and small, and each time Konoha won. And Hanzo is about to be beaten into a mental disability by Xingyu. I don't know how many times he has been abused by Xingyu, causing Hanzo to be afraid when he sees Xingyu now. Now the reason why Shinobu can still hold on is that they are dragging, they don't want to surrender, the price of surrender is too great, they can't afford it. As for Yuin Village, even Sand Shinobu couldn't afford to surrender, let alone their small country of Yuin Village. However, fortunately, because of the alliance with Yushinobu, with the help of Yushinobu, he is more familiar with the terrain of the Land of Rain, and he also bears the pressure. Have you figured it out? We in Yuin Village don't want to die with you. Hanzo found the 3 generations of Kazekage and asked the 3 generations of Kazekage. Hanzo's tone is a little unkind, which is also normal, because it was the 3 generations of Wind Shadows who pulled him on this thief ship, but it can't all be blamed on the 3 generations of Wind Shadows, mainly because Hanzo was tempted by the benefits given by the 3 generations of Wind Shadows. I sent someone to contact Inoki, and the old fox said that they couldn't protect themselves and couldn't send ninjas to help us. The 3 generations of Wind Shadows clenched their fists and said with some anger. According to the information received, the 3rd generation of Tokei Jinoki is leading Iwa Shinobu to beat Konoha to death, and Konoha is about to be unable to bear it, whereas it difficult to protect itself. To put it bluntly, I don't want to send someone to help Shinobu. After all, although they are in an alliance, this is only a verbal alliance, and it will break at any time. Hanzo glanced at the 3 generations of Wind Shadows. Sure enough, this 3 generations of Wind Shadows were still too young, and they should not have mixed in for a little benefit in the first place, which made it difficult to get out now. Don't you have any other way for the 3 generations of Wind Shadow? Hanzo continued to ask as he walked towards the 3 generations of Kazekage. If the 3 generations of Kazekage can't think of a feasible way, then Hanzo will have to prepare a way back for you Shinobu. The seal on the body of the Ikkyo human pillar force was finally unlocked after the unremitting efforts of our sealing class, which means that the Ikkyo human pillar force can return to the battlefield. One more one-tailed human pillar force, can it beat Konoha? Have you forgotten how Ichigo Renzali was caught? Hanzo's brows furrowed, and he felt more and more that the 3 generations of Wind Shadows were unreliable. Advisor Hai Laozong has sent a letter to Yunin village in the Land of Thunder, inviting Yun Shinobu to participate. If Yun Shinobu can participate, Konoha will definitely have to bear more pressure, and the army will definitely be divided at that time. Hanzo didn't expect that the 3 generations of Kazekage would actually go and win over Kumo Shinobu to deal with Konoha together, but would this really succeed? It is not so simple to be able to become a figure in the shadows of various villages. Can Shinobu really say that Shinobu Dom Kumo sent troops to attack Konoha? If there is no benefit, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow will definitely not do it, but I don't know what benefits Shine Village can come up with to impress the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow. I don't know about the 3 generations of Wind Shadow. How sure are you of winning over the 3rd generation of Thunder Shadow? Hanzo asks that this question is important to Hanzo and will determine what Hanzo chooses next. I'm 80% sure that I'll be able to get Kumo Shinobu to send troops against Konoha. The 3rd generation of Fenging said with a confident look. Hanzo was a little skeptical about the confidence of the 3 generations of Kazekage, but finally chose to believe in the 3 generations of Kazekage for the time being. After Hanzo left, the 3 generations of Wind Shadow breathed a sigh of relief. What 80% of the certainty is a lie, the 3rd generation of Wind Shadow did not even have the certainty of Issei. But the 3 generations of Wind Shadow knew that if they really told the truth, Hanzo would definitely have other thoughts, so the 3rd generation of Wind Shadow chose to act, and this time he successfully deceived Hanzo. It's just that after Hanzo left, the 3 generations of Kazekage began to worry, and it was too difficult to deal with Konoha at the moment, and the 3 generations of Kazekage didn't have any good ways. Episode 96, Rope Tree. I didn't expect to meet you on the battlefield. Xingyu was in the logistics department and saw the rope tree. To be honest, Xingyu had not seen the rope tree for a long time. I came to and from the battlefield to escort supplies. I really envy you. I can actually stay on the battlefield all the time. Rope Tree looked at Xingyu with envy. What is there to envy here? Don't you know that the battlefield is dangerous? Every day people die. Go to the medical class, which is full of injured ninjas. Xingyu said a little speechlessly. I really don't know what the rope tree is envying. If Xingyu were not for his strength, he would definitely stay away from the battlefield. The rope tree can be poured well, the strength is not much, and he wants to go to the battlefield. Rope Tree, how can you do such a task? Escorting supplies is not a safe task, or even more dangerous. Hashiha reminded Rope Tree that he and Rope Tree were friends and had a good relationship, plus there was a relationship with Tsunade, and Hashiha didn't want to see Rope Tree hang up like in the original. Shouldn't ninjas just grow up in grinding? Some dangers are nothing. Rope Tree spoke. Very good, Rope Tree, your consciousness is very good, but you should still say this to your sister. Hashiha said and pointed at Tsunade, who was walking towards this side, and Tsunade walked towards this side with a gloomy face. Rope Tree, how did you appear on the battlefield? Tsunade questioned towards the Rope Tree. You guys talk first, I'm going to cultivate. Xingyu did not mix, ignoring the gaze for help thrown by the Rope Tree. Xingyu left here directly. Instead of watching Tsunade preach the Rope Tree here, it was better to cultivate. Leaving the camp, I came to this forest where I often came to practice, where Kushina, Mikoto, and Konan. Xingyu did not disturb their cultivation. His hands were sealed to perform the multiple shadow doppelganger technique. Looking at the numerous shadow doppelgangers, Xingyu asked them to practice ninjutsu. One part is to cultivate the ninjutsu they have learned and master proficiency, and the other part is to let them develop ninjutsu. Xingyu himself began to study the immortal mode. and if he wanted to cultivate the immortal mode, he had to perceive natural energy. This is not difficult for Xingyu. The perfect immortal body can help Xingyu better perceive natural energy, and it only took Xingyu half an hour to perceive natural energy. But it has been a month since Xingyu cultivated the immortal mode, and now Xingyu has not cultivated into the immortal mode. Do you really need to go to the 3 holy lands to learn the immortal mode? Xingyu frowned. There was no guidance. It was really difficult to just rely on his own groping. Moreover, Xingyu really did not dare to arbitrarily cultivate the immortal mode. After all, the danger factor of cultivating the immortal mode was not small. If you want to cultivate into the immortal mode, you must balance the 3 forces in the body, which are physical energy, spiritual energy, and natural energy. That is to say, these 3 energies each account for 1/3 to activate the immortal mode. If the natural energy exceeds 1/3, it will be swallowed by the natural force, and if it is less than 1/3, it will not be able to activate the immortal mode. This delicate balance is difficult to grasp, and it is simply impossible to rely on the shadow avatar to cultivate, because Xingyu himself is not easy to grasp, and the shadow avatar is even more difficult. Slowly absorbing natural energy, Xingyu has not yet learned the immortal mode, so he is very careful when cultivating, and does not dare to absorb natural energy unscrupulously. The natural energy entered the body, and Xingyu felt that every cell of his was rejoicing, and there was no half repulsion of the external natural energy. The perfect immortal body is inherently close to nature, so it is not difficult to absorb natural energy. The key is how to integrate these 3 energies. Xingyu was engrossed, controlling the gathering of natural energy and his own spiritual energy and body energy, trying to fuse together. Unfortunately, in the end, Xingyu still failed, and the natural energy was less than 1/3, resulting in the failure of cultivating the immortal mode. Looks like it's going to be a bit risky. Xingyu once again separates a shadow avatar and asks this shadow avatar to wake himself up when he changes. Before, Xingyu did not dare to fuse too much natural energy, for fear of being swallowed by the force of nature, but now Xingyu is ready to fuse more natural energy and try again. As long as you wake up in time, you don't have to worry about being swallowed by the force of nature. What's more, just in case, Xingyu also divided a shadow doppelganger to escort himself. Another attempt, but still failed. This time the natural energy fusion was too much. Fortunately Xingyu stopped in time, but it was not affected. However, although it was a failure this time, Xingyu's gain was not small. At the same time, Xingyu also understood that his previous worries were not necessary. Even if the cultivation immortal mode failed, as long as it stopped in time, there would be no danger. Looking for experience in repeated failures, finally before dark, Xingyu successfully entered the immortal mode. However, just learned the immortal mode, the flaws are still not small. It takes 3 minutes to absorb natural energy to enter the immortal mode, and the immortal mode cannot be maintained forever. In general, although you have cultivated into immortal mode, the actual combat effect of immortal mode is probably not very good, unless someone helps you drag the enemy during the battle and gives you time to enter immortal mode, otherwise there is no chance to use it. Such an immortal mode, Xingyu was a little dissatisfied in his heart, although the increase in the state of the immortal mode was indeed huge, making him increase a lot in all aspects, but the real battle, where is the time for you to enter the immortal mode? Xingyu wants the immortal mode between the 1,000-hand pillars. You can open the immortal mode by opening and closing your eyes, and it only takes a moment to enter the immortal mode. Moreover, the immortal mode of the original Hokage has no time limit, and the immortal mode of his own is too flawed in comparison. Forget it, let's slowly improve it later. The strength of the immortal mode is worth the time spent by Xingyu to perfect, and the power of immortal arts and the 6 paths should be the top power in the Hokage world. Just by virtue of the immortal art being able to have an effect on the 10-tailed human pillar force, it was enough for Xingyu to cultivate. Unlike Naruto Uzumaki has a harder time absorbing natural energy, while Star Feather is simpler and easier to perfect the immortal mode. Xingyu, go back to eat. Jioshinai shouted at Xingyu. Got it. Xingyu lifted all the shadow doppelgangers, and the ninjutsu experience memories that instantly poured in, so that Xingyu couldn't help but hold his forehead, and the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel subconsciously opened. It seems that I can't distinguish so many shadow doppelgangers in the future, it's too sinful. After a few minutes, Xingyu eased up, and then he felt a sense of mental exhaustion. The shadow doppelganger art to cultivate ninjutsu was indeed a good way to cheat, but it was not something that anyone could use. Xingyu felt that he already had enough strength, and there was no need to fight so hard. Xingyu's current strength, a proper super shadow level, may not be comparable to the 1,000-hand pillars, but compared to Uchiha who does not have the Eye of Reincarnation, the gap should not be very large. This strength is placed in the current period, and there is no problem in beating the entire ninja world. Episode 97. The meal prepared is so hearty, it seems that the materials delivered by Konoha this time are good. After returning with Jioshinai, Hashiwa couldn't help but be a little surprised to see that Makoto had prepared 7 or 8 dishes. What, these are all the ingredients that Makoto and I found in the forest together with Xiaonan after we finished cultivating. Jioshinai said to Xingyu. So that's the case, that's really hard for you, give you a few more pieces of meat. Xingyu took a few pieces of meat and placed them in their bowl. What about the rope tree? He's not going to leave, is he? Hashiha asked as he ate towards Tsunade. No, their squad went to see their teacher. Tsunade shook his head. Rope tree went to find Orochimaru. As for the purpose Tsunade can also guess, it is nothing more than wanting to stay on the battlefield. However, this is impossible, and Tsunade believes that Orochimaru will not let Orochimaru and them remain on the battlefield. Xingyu nodded when he heard this, and then he didn't ask more, and went to rest after eating. It was too tiring to use the shadow avatar to cultivate the ninjutsu spirit, and Xingyu had to take a good rest. Perhaps because the eyes evolved into an eternal kaleidoscope, the mentally exhausted star feather recovered quickly. After a night's sleep, I was refreshed and not tired at all. After eating the breakfast prepared by Makoto, Hoshiyu did not have any tasks, and simply continued to cultivate. However, just as Xingyu was about to go to cultivate, the rope tree came to find Xingyu. Looking at the fawning smile on Rope Tree's face, Xingyu took a few steps back, and then said, Rope Tree, do you have something you want to ask me for help? Yes, Xingyu, how do you know? Rope Tree looked at Xingyu in surprise. It's so obvious that I almost wrote my thoughts directly on my face. Say, what's the matter? Don't look for me for something too difficult, I can't help. If it's not too difficult, it's okay for Xingyu to help the rope tree. If it's a difficult or troublesome thing, then Xingyu can only say that love can't help. I want you to help me convince my sister. Yesterday I went to find teacher Orochimaru, and teacher Orochimaru said that as long as my sister agrees, he agrees to let me stay on the battlefield. I can't convince this, and can't help you, leave. Xingyu directly turned and left. Don't, I'll rely on you to help me now. The rope tree hurriedly caught up. First of all, it is impossible for Tsunade to agree to you staying on the battlefield, and secondly, I also think that you are not suitable to stay on the battlefield. Why? You and Kushina and Makoto can stay on the battlefield, why can't I? Rope Tree said unconvinced. Of course, because of your weak strength, you are cannon fodder on the battlefield. Do you want to be cannon fodder? Xingyu felt that Rope Tree might really have a brain disease, and actually wanted to stay on the battlefield. Did he really think that he was playing on the battlefield? Xingyu, don't underestimate me, I've become a lot stronger now. Rope Tree said confidently. Recently, the rope tree has improved a lot, and some of it has swelled, so I have the idea of staying on the battlefield. Is it? It seems that without giving you a little blow, you will not die, so be it. As long as you can hold out in my hands for a minute, I will help you convince Tsunade, and I promise to be absolutely persuaded. How? Xingyu, aren't you underestimating me? Rope Tree looked at Xingyu very angrily. Hey, don't think it's simple, I estimate that your strength can't be improved tenfold, so I advise you to give up. That's what you said, don't forget what you promised. Rope Tree suppressed the dissatisfaction in his heart, and instead felt that this was an opportunity to stay here. Don't worry, I won't forget what I promised, hurry up, I still have to cultivate. Xingyu waved his hand and said. Then you're welcome. The rope tree immediately made a seal on both hands. How can you seal so slowly? I can kill you 10 times with this time. Xingyu grabbed the wrist of the rope tree, and then twisted it hard, and the rope tree was not to say that it was sealed, and the entire arm seemed to have lost its strength. With you being so close to me, you actually want to use ninjutsu? Don't you know that it is better to use physical techniques at close range? Xingyu, can you let me go first? I feel like my arm is going to be screwed off. Rope Tree gritted his teeth and said to Xingyu. Xingyu let go of the rope tree, and then said to the rope tree, let's go back, this place is not for you. No, not just now, let's do it again. Rope Tree said unwillingly. Rope Tree, I don't have time to play with you here. However, Rope Tree had already made a move, and this time he did not mean to use ninjutsu, and punched towards Hoshiyu. Looking at the posture of Xingyu, he knew that the Rope Tree had not practiced much physical art, and his fist was straight and full of flaws. Before the Rope Tree's fist hit Xingyu, Xingyu kicked the Rope Tree and flew out. Although Xingyu didn't use much force, it would definitely hurt for a while for the Rope Tree. See, Rope Tree, you can't even block my move. If you go to the battlefield, the survival rate is equal to 0. If you really want to go to the battlefield, I advise you to commit suicide. After all, going to the battlefield is also sending death. Although Xingyu's words are hitting the Rope Tree, this is the purpose of Xingyu. If you don't give the Rope Tree a little blow, with the persistence of the Rope Tree, it is possible to sneak to the battlefield. The Rope Tree is indeed a little hit now, and the self-confidence that was originally raised because of the increase in strength has also been worn away by Xingyu. Hashiha was also not worried about the Rope Tree being hit. The Rope Tree's personality was somewhat similar to Naruto Uzumaki, and it would not take long to recover. The Rope Tree climbed up, patted off the dust on its body, and left with some loss. What's wrong with him? Kushina and Mikoto just walked over, and then they saw the lost back of the rope tree. If you want to stay on the battlefield, let me help him convince Tsunade, but I will give him some blows, and now he should not have these thoughts for the time being. Xingyu shook his head, and then he and Shinai and Mikoto came to the place of daily cultivation and began to cultivate. Conan, who wasn't here, followed Tsunade to the medical class. Yesterday I finally learned the Immortal mode. Xingyu tried to enter the Immortal mode several times. When Xingyu used the Immortal mode, 3 hook jades appeared on his forehead, and red lines appeared at the corners of his eyes. Using the Immortal mode several times, I don't know if it was Xingyu's own illusion, and I felt that the speed of entering the Immortal mode was accelerated. The Hoshi Feather body cultivates the Immortal mode, body technique, and sword art, while the Shadow Doppelganger is responsible for developing ninjutsu and practicing ninjutsu. Time passed quickly during the cultivation, and in the blink of an eye, the time of the morning passed, and it was time to eat at noon. When Hashiwa and they returned, they found Ropiki and his 2 teammates, Hinata and Uzumaki Suk, waiting here. Hashiyu, we are here to say goodbye to you, we are ready to return to Konoha village. Rope Tree said towards Xingyu. It's okay, Rope Tree, come here, I have something for you. Hashiha called the Rope Tree over, and then used a transcription seal on the Rope Tree, which was to prevent the Rope Tree from hanging up like in the original book. Episode 98. The Rope Tree left the battlefield, and there was still a stalemate between Konoha and Shinobu and Yunin on the battlefield. Although Konoha has the upper hand, Konoha can gain the upper hand entirely because of the presence of Star Feather. If the Star Feathers are removed, Konoha will not only not take advantage of the Shinobu and Shinobi, but will also suffer losses. So the current situation is so deadlocked, the Konoha ninja troops are not good to make a move against Sand Shinobu and Shinobu for the time being, and Sand Shinobu and Shinobu do not dare to make a move against the Konoha ninja. On the other side, the battlefield of Konoha and Iwa Shinobi village, because Danzo was transferred, the battlefield over there was temporarily stabilized. But at this time, another bad news came, that is, the Mist Hidden Village, which lived far overseas, announced a war with Konoha village. The ape who learned the news was so worried that he almost pulled his hair off. Konoha is now facing 3 villages, 2 great shinobi villages, and a Yuin village that is not much worse than the great shinobi village. Now another Misty village, Ape Flying Sun / means that Konoha really can't bear it. Unlike the sad Ape Flying Sun, the 3 generations of Wind Shadows, 3 generations of Earth Shadows, and Hanzo are about to bloom with laughter. Even Hanzo personally went to find the 3 generations of Kazekage, and specifically asked if he invited the village of Kirihide to start a war with Konoha. Well, the 3 generations of Wind Shadows answered ambiguously, did not admit or deny, let Hanzo guess for himself. When Xingyu learned the news, he was still a little stunned in his heart. In the original work, the Mist Hidden Village did not participate in the Second Ninja World War. Could it be the butterfly effect triggered by him? Xingyu guessed correctly. The reason why Mist Hidden Village participated in this Ninja World War is directly related to Star Feather. Once Xingyu broke into the Mist Hidden Village, opened Susanoo to kill hundreds of ninjas in the Mist Hidden Village, and snatched the Book of Seals of the Mist Hidden Village, and took a large amount of money by the way. Although the murderer has been found in the Fog Hidden Village, it has not been able to catch the murderer Ryota Uchiha, which makes the inside of the Fog Hidden Village very unstable. The 3 generations of Mizukage were also anxious, and the last 3 generations of Mizukage simply thought of a way to divert attention, that is, to go to war with Konoha. The war with Konoha is ostensibly under the banner of getting Konoha to hand over Ryota Uchiha, but in fact, the real purpose is for the 3 generations of Mizukage to divert the attention of Mist Shinobu. The loss of the Book of Seals was his dereliction of duty, and if he didn't let the Mist Ninja of Mist Hidden Village look away from this, then his position as Water Shadow would not be preserved. And now that there are a lot of enemies in Konoha village, it is a good time to divide the cup, and the 3 generations of Mizukage can be described as killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Sure enough, after the 3rd generation of Mizukage announced the war with Konoha, no one set their sights on the loss of the Book of Seals for the time being. This time, the 3rd generation of Mizukage personally led 4,000 Mist Ninja troops to attack the Fire Country, so that Sarutobi had to send people to resist Mist Shinobi. The 2 advisors sent out to resist the Mist Shinobu are naturally Mito Minyan and Koharu Shun Sleep. They are not the old guys in the future, they still have some strength. Their 2 elder advisors, leading Konoha's ninja troops, temporarily blocked the attack of the Mist Shinobu. But in this way, the pressure of Konoha village is infinite, not to mention that there is also a Yunin village that has not moved for the time being. Yunin village also had to be guarded, their ambitions were even greater. If Konoha village really showed signs of rout, the 3 generations of Thunder Shadow would definitely bite a piece of meat on Konoha. It's not even as simple as biting off a piece of meat, it's likely to swallow the entire Fire Nation directly. Something has changed. Xingyu sighed secretly. Originally Xingyu wanted to get a god-level copy card lying down, but now it seems that it is impossible to get it lying down. Konoha must win no matter what. Starfeather's mission is that Konoha Village wins the Second Ninja World War, and the mission reward is a god-level copy card. If it fails, the god-level copy card will be lost with Hoshiyu. Hoshiyu felt that he couldn't be so confused, otherwise Konoha Village would really be able to lose. Yun Shinobu hasn't made a move for the time being. I don't know if they will go to sneak up on Yenin Village like in the original work. In the Second Shinobi World War in the original work, when Iwahide Village and Konoha fought, they suffered a sneak attack from Yunin Village, and could only abandon Konoha to deal with Yunin. But now that the Second Ninja World War has changed, it is not easy to say what will happen in the future. Maybe Yunin Village will take the opportunity to strike at Konoha. After all, the current Konoha is embattled, and the possibility of Yunin Village falling into the well is very high. What are you thinking? Also talking to himself, Joshinai pushed Xingyu and brought Starfeather back to his senses. Hoshiha, are you thinking about the situation in Konoha? Mikoto asked. Well, Konoha's current situation is still quite difficult. It seems that at this time, the Savior Vortex Starfeather, need to make a move. Xingyu said with a slight smile. Although something has changed, Xingyu is not panicked in his heart. With Xingyu's current strength, to put it mildly, even if the 4 major ninja villages go together. I see that you are not the savior, but the great demon of destruction. Joshinai thought of Xingyu's complete body Susanoo, and the pitch-black complete body Susanoo, just like the Diablo god from Hades. Bang! Make you talk more. Xingyu felt particularly comfortable when he saw Joshinai, who was squatting on the ground with his forehead covered. Abominable Starfeather. Joshinai gritted her teeth and looked at Xingyu with tears in her eyes. This brain collapse is very painful. Joshinai, this is regarded as a lesson. Remember to say good things in the future. Mikoto said with a smile towards Kushina. Mikoto, are you watching my jokes? No, Joshinai thinks too much. Mikoto wanted to hold back a smile on her face, but she couldn't help but smile. Well, Mikoto admits that she was watching the joke of Kushinai. Mikoto, don't let me take advantage of it, or I'll make you look good. Joshina said viciously towards Mikoto. Sorry, Joshinai, you will never have this opportunity. Humph, we'll see. Joshinai snorted softly. Come on, eat an apple to dissipate your breath, it's not easy to eat fruit here. Xingyu took a large apple and stuffed it into Joshinai's hand. Humph, don't think that using a single apple can deflate me. Having said that, Joshinai still took the apple, and it was really not easy to eat fruit on the battlefield. As for these fruits, they were all purchased by Hoshiha using Huangazumi Hirasaka in the distant country of Kawano. Oh, why are you out there? Joshinai saw Xingyu walking out and couldn't help but ask out loud. I'm going to the medical class to practice medical ninjutsu, do you want to go? Hoshiha turned his head and asked as he turned to Kushina and Mikoto. Go, why don't you go? I just want to learn medical ninjutsu. Joshinai nodded, and then followed Xingyu with a puff of smoke. Mikoto naturally wouldn't stay here alone, and followed. Joshinai, why do you suddenly want to learn medical ninjutsu? Xingyu asked Joshinai suspiciously. Jidwa doesn't weigh down, and if Mikoto is injured in the future, I can still treat Mikoto. Joshina said and glanced at Mikoto. Mikoto is full of black lines. What is it to treat you after being injured? I see you are expecting me to be injured, right? Episode 99, Xingyu and they had just arrived at the medical class when they heard an explosion sound of the detonation charm. What's the situation? San Shinobu came to attack? Hoshiha used Kagura's heart eye in surprise, sensed it, and found that it was indeed Shinobu who had attacked. What is the reason that actually makes the shrunken sand ninja choose to take the initiative? Xingyu was very puzzled. What kind of help did San Shinobu get? Or did you send reinforcements? At this time, Tsunade took Conan out of the medical class. Apparently Tsunade also walked out after hearing the movement. What's going on? Enemy attack? Are you asking me? I don't know. Hoshiha saw Tsunade look at him and couldn't help but say. Go and see, Xiaonan, you stay in the camp, don't run around. Xingyu squatted down and patted Xiaonan's little head and said. Xiaonan nodded obediently, but there was still some disappointment in her eyes. She wanted to go with her, but she also knew that she was just a drag bottle. You have to work harder to cultivate. Xiaonan said silently in his heart. Leaving Xiaonan alone in the camp, Xingyu was not afraid of any danger, because Xingyu also left a transcription seal in Xiaonan's eyes. Arriving with Tsunade outside the camp where Konoha was stationed, Kiki Shuwa Shigeru was leading Konoha Ninja and San Shinobu to face each other. What is the situation? How could Shinobu suddenly attack? It won't be because he knew that the Mist Hidden Village also sent troops to deal with Konoha, and wanted to take advantage of the fire and rob for 47, Hoshiyu asked towards Jiraiya. Jiraiya's injury has healed, and he has healed 2 months ago. It's a little troublesome. Chief Commander Kiki killed Chiyo's son and daughter-in-law, so this time it was Chiyo's old woman who came to take revenge. Zilai did not hide it, and said to Xingyu. Hoshiyu's expression is a little strange. Chiyo's son and daughter-in-law, isn't that the parents of the Red Sand Scorpion? It turns out that Scorpion's parents died in the Second Ninja World War. Chimu Shuamao, I'm going to kill you. Chiyo stared at Kiki Shuamao with hatred. If it weren't for Hai Lao hiding behind and pulling, Chiyo would definitely run up and fight with Kiki Shuamao. Kiki Shua Shigeru was expressionless. For him there was nothing wrong with killing enemy ninjas, and it was absolutely impossible to show mercy to the enemy subordinates on the battlefield. The 3 generations of Kazekage have a bit of a headache. In fact, the 3 generations of Kazekage do not agree to shoot at Konoha now, but Chiyo took the ninja to kill it, and the 3rd generation of Kazekage can only passively shoot. As for why Chiyo was able to mobilize the Sand Ninja troops, then it has to be said that Chiyo's prestige in the Sand Hidden Village is no worse than the 3 generations of Kazekage. Hai Laozong, I will drag Chimu Shuamao, you stop the big snake pill, and Zelaya, you must delay the time. There is also Elder Chiyo. Senju Tsunade will be handed over to you. At this time, I hope Elder Chiyo will not be blinded by hatred. The 3rd generation of Wind Shadow took a deep breath, and then said, although it was passive to strike, but the 3rd generation of Wind Shadow is not without a plan. Sister, as long as you defeat Konoha, Shuamao can be at your disposal. Laozong also persuaded Chiyo. I know, I'll block Tsunade. Chiyo put aside her hatred for the time being, and at this time chose to focus on the overall situation, turning her head not to look at Kiki Shuamao. She was afraid that she couldn't help but make a move. Strike according to plan. The 3 generations of Fengying glanced at the big monk next to him, and this big monk was naturally a tale of people. Fenfu sighed. He didn't want to create a slaughter, but for the sake of Shaoyin Village, he had to do the same. Fenfu was the first to rush towards the Konoha ninja, and when he rushed over, Fenfuku had an extra layer of tailed beast clothes on his body. The tailed beast cloak is a protective layer formed by the chakra of the tailed beast attached to and wrapped around the surface of the human pillar force's body, which will increase attack, defense, and speed. In addition, only those who have been approved by the tailed beast can use the tailed beast coat, and it is obvious that the blessing is approved by the Ichigo Moritsuru. With the protection of the tailed beast's cloak, neither the kunai nor the shuriken thrown out by the Konoha ninja could cause the slightest injury to the blessing. Before Kuwu touched Fenfu, he was blocked by the sand around Fenfu's body. Shoha, come out. Fenfu communicated with Shoha in his heart, and then took the initiative to put himself to sleep and awaken the Ichigo Shizuru sealed in Fenfu's body. The huge chakra burst out, and the huge body of Moritsuru appeared on the battlefield, looking at the monster in front of him. Abdi, Konoha's ninja was a little desperate. It's this tanuki again. Joshinai looked at this big tanuki who liked to shout. It surprised me that San Shinobu was actually able to break the seal of the 4 elephants. Xingyu said. At the beginning, Xingyu used the 4-elephant seal to seal the one-tailed crane back into the body of the blessing, and with the power of the crane himself, it was obviously impossible to break through the seal. So Xingyu guessed that it should be the 4-elephant seal, destroyed by Shinobu. The truth was similar to what Xingyu guessed, and San Shinobu studied it for a long time before he thought of a way to forcibly break the seal of the 4 elephants. It is not unraveled, but forcibly broken, and it is a lot of sin to share the blessings. Hands on. After the appearance of Ichigo Moritsuru, the 3 generations of Wind Shadow had a clear goal and went straight to Chimu Shuamao, unleashing an attack while approaching Chimu Shuamao. Magnetic escape, sand iron time rain. The 3 generations of Kazekage sealed their hands and instantly summoned sand iron like ocean waves, and then condensed the sand iron into 1,000 books and flew out towards the Konoha ninja. The range of this attack is so wide that Konoha's ninja have to use defensive ninjutsu to fend off the attack. Dodge is impossible to dodge, dense attacks cannot be dodged at all, only to resist this road. Seeing this, Chimu Shuamao pulled out the white fan short blade, blocked the sand iron Senbon that flew towards him, and then went straight to the 3rd generation of Wind Shadows. The white fan blade now has an additional layer of magnetically insulating coating, and although the lethality is reduced, it will not be restrained by magnetic force. After the 3 generations of Wind Shadows made a move, Hai Laozong also immediately struck, and one person faced the big snake pill and Jiraiya. Now that the great snake pill and Jiraiya are only Quasi-Kage's strength, there is no danger in Hai Laozong alone against the 2 of them. Chiyo also followed the plan of the 3 generations of Kazekage, controlling the puppet to attack Tsunade, and even attacked other Konoha ninjas from time to time. These damn puppets, it's nasty. Tsunade uses strange power to punch and smash one puppet, but immediately a second puppet rushes up, and the puppet in Sand Hidden Village is indeed very annoying. Kiki Shua Shigeru was blocked by the 3 generations of Kazekage, Orochimaru and Jiraiya were also stopped by Kairatsu, and Tsunade is now also entangled with Chiyo. The remaining one-tailed crane can only be solved by Star Feather, and the high-end combat power on Konoha's side is all dragged down, which is the plan of the 3 generations of Wind Shadows. Of course, not only is it simply dragged down, but more importantly, it is still to come, and don't forget that Yoshinobu is now an ally of Sand Hidden Village. When the Tsunehide village and Konoha's troops went to war, neither Hanzo nor Yushin appeared. Of course they had other purposes. Sneak attack on the Konoha camp. This is the real plan of the 3 generations of Kazekage. They drag the top combat power of Konoha, and then let Hanzo lead the Rain Ninja to sneak attack from behind and destroy the materials of the Konoha Ninja. Feilu reminds you, 3 things to read, collect, push. Episode 100. Little Tanuki, do you think I didn't clean up enough last time? Now you dare to grin at me. Xingyu looked at Chizuru, and he could obviously see a trace of fear in Shoha's eyes. It seemed that Shoha was not completely afraid of himself. Also, when Xingyu was last time, he abused Shoha very badly. Uncle Ben is going to kill you. Shoha saw the smile on Xingyu's face, as if he felt humiliated. The angry Shoha opened his mouth wide, and the chakra of the yin and yang attribute condensed into a sphere in Shoha's mouth. Is this tailed beast jade? It turns out that Shoha, you can also use the tailed beast jade, and I thought that you had too few chakras to use the trick of the tailed beast jade, Xingyu said with some surprise. But yes, according to common sense, all tailed beasts can use tailed beast jade, and you can't think that Shoha can't do it because Shoha's chakra is less than other tailed beasts. However, this tailed beast jade is released a little slowly, and it is understandable. After all, this is also a big move. A tailed beast jade can destroy a village. This is the destructive power of the tailed beast, and it is precisely because of this destructive power that even if someone has an individual strength above the tailed beast, its role on the battlefield is not comparable to that of the tailed beast. For example, the ape flying sun chop can defeat one tail, but in terms of destruction, one tail is far stronger than the ape flying sun chop. The chakra of the yin and yang attribute was mixed and compressed in the mouth in a ratio of 2 to 8, and then finally launched out. Looking at the tailed beast jade that was beaten out, Shoha's heart was a little happy. Finally able to kill this hateful fellow, Chizuru felt like he was going to die with joy. However, Shoha thought too much. When the tailed beast jade called, Xingyu directly used the pupil technique of riding wheel eyes, and the tailed beast jade disappeared without a trace before approaching Xingyu. After the kaleidoscope chakra eye evolved into the eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye, the 2 pupils of the star feather also became more powerful, as if they had evolved with it. Huangquan is less expensive to use than Ryosaka, and the effect is stronger, and you can open the door of space at will. The pupil technique of the Heavenly Imperial Mandate is not only acting on itself, it can also make other items backward in time, and the time to rewind is not just 3 minutes. Xingyu has tried. He can make the time within a radius of 100 meters go back by an hour, which is a large-scale time regression, but the pupil power consumed is equally terrifying as chakra. The pupil power of the star feather eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan, as well as the chakra in his body, which is even better than the 9 tails, will be consumed. Of course, Star Feather can also choose to use it alone on an item or person, and the time to rewind will be longer. Well, the time to rewind will also vary, depending on the pupil power consumed by Star Feather and chakra. Maybe if chakra and pupil power are enough, it is no problem to turn back time by 1,000 years, but this is just Xingyu's own guess. Just now, Xingyu used the pupil technique of the Heavenly Imperial Order, which acted on the tailed beast jade, causing the time of the tailed beast jade to go back by 3 minutes. 3 minutes ago, the tailed beast jade had not yet been released, so it disappeared silently. Compared with the Heavenly Imperial Destiny that was a little chicken in the past, now the scope of use of the pupil technique of Heavenly Imperial Fate is extensive. Especially when fighting with a real strong person, the time of the Heavenly Emperor's Mandate is reversed, and the opponent's attack can be easily defused. These aside, the Shoha at this time is very confused, although I rarely use the tailed beast jade to attack, but it will not be useless to release the tailed beast jade. It's okay to give me a sound. This whole thing seems that I released not a big move but air, there is no movement. But soon Shoha came back to his senses. It must be the ghost of that human imp, otherwise its tailed beast jade would definitely not have moved a little. It's just that the pupil technique ability of the Heavenly Imperial Mandate is a time regression, and there is no trace at all, and Shoha can't see what Xingyu has done. Rumble. There was an explosion sound from behind, causing the smile on Hashiha's face to converge and look back in the direction of Konoha's station. So that's the case, no wonder Yoshinobu didn't appear here. Seeing the fire coming out of the Konoha ninja troop station, Hashiha couldn't guess the strategy of San Shinobu and Yoshinobu. After knowing that Shinobu attacked because Chiyo wanted to avenge his son, Hashiha didn't think much about Yoshinobu's absence and didn't think much about it. After all, Chiyo wants revenge, and Yoshinobu has little to do with it. Although they are united, they will not make a move for the reason of helping Chiyo take revenge. After all, Hanzo also has to consider the pros and cons. So Hashiha just thought that Hanzo didn't want to participate in Chiyo's revenge for her son at that time. After all, this is a matter that only contributes and has no benefit, and it is normal for Hanzo not to participate. It's just that I didn't expect that the 3 generations of Wind Shadow and Hanzo had another conspiracy. It seems that I can't play with you this Tanuki. Xingyu's eyes instantly turned into an eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye, and then directly controlled the one-tailed crane, and the eyes of the one-tailed crane turned into the appearance of a 3-hook jade riding wheel eye. Under the eyes of the eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel, the tailed beasts are just toys. Even if there is a presence of human pillar power, Star Feather can easily control the crane. After taking control of Shizuru, Hashiwa glanced at Kushina and Mikoto, who were fighting, and there was no danger with the cooperation of the two of them. Coupled with the transcription seal of Hoshiyu, Hoshi Feather did not need to worry too much, so he left the battlefield directly and returned to the station of Konoha's ninja troops. Xiaonan is still in the station. Although there is a transcription seal, Xiaonan will be fine, but Xingyu still doesn't want to see Xiaonan suffer any harm. Moreover, Hashiha also has to solve the sneak attack of Yushinobu. If the materials are all destroyed by Yushinobu, then the materials of Konoha Ninja Force will be poor, which is not conducive to the next war. Even if the supplies can't keep up, it will lead to the collapse of Konoha, which was originally dominant. First found Xiaonan. Xiaonan was hiding where Xingyu and they lived, but it was nothing. Xiaonan, are you alright? Xingyu asked towards Xiaonan. Xiaonan looked at Xingyu and breathed a sigh of relief, and then pounced towards Xingyu, although there was nothing wrong, but the shouts outside frightened Xiaonan, and his face was a little pale. It's okay. Xiaonan shook his head. It's okay. Xingyu directly took Xiaonan out, holding Xiaonan in his left hand and holding the Kusanagi sword in his right hand. There is no Rain Ninja in the residence of the Konoha Ninja here, and the Rain Ninja is in the location where Konoha stores the logistics materials, as well as the medical class. Apparently they also know what is most important. Destroying the materials of Konoha's ninja troops, killing Konoha's medical ninja is the most important. Hanzo personally made a move this time, and Hoshiyu had already seen the huge pepperfish destroying everywhere. Is Xiaonan afraid? Xingyu asked towards Xiaonan. Don't be afraid. Xiaonan shook her head firmly. When she was herself before, Xiaonan was really afraid in her heart. However, after Xingyu returned, Xiaonan felt that the fear in his heart disappeared, and now there was not the slightest fear. Xingyu smiled slightly, and pulled Xiaonan towards the place where Yushinobi had the most, and all the Yushinobi he encountered were killed by Xingyu's sword. Xiaonan looked at these dead bodies, and did not have much fear. As a war orphan, Xiaonan is still young, but he has really seen more corpses, and he is not afraid of seeing more.